Well, this is my second video on social engineering. My influences, serious influences, my youth were the X-Files as an example, or Al Bundy, Married with Children, or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those are all from my times, and even Star Trek, of course. I was influenced by Star Trek. And as an example, the X-Files always alternates in between a so-called ET episode with ETs and monster episodes. So every single time it's an interesting. I found the T part really interesting actually, with the so-called race, but it was always in a negative tone, and in a really negative, fearful kind of tone. The indoctrination here is that anything that has to do with ETs is bad and evil and should be feared upon. And the monster episodes where they're horrible, they indoctrinate you with fear, monsters, and then ET episodes, monster episodes, ET episodes. And this programming is so severe that you naturally fear any type of mentioning of, well, if there would be some type of great type ETs, then you would automatically associate this feeling that you had watching this series with that, because you only have that programming. I made a video about so-called ET civilizations, Dr. Stephen Greer, and many whistleblowers that apparently the US shadow government has been in contact with ET-like entities since the 50s, with the so-called Nordic aliens, the Imperial Germans, or grey ETs, or even reptilian-type ETs. This is all online also, yeah? Next to revisionist history, next to the truth of 9/11, next to the truth of the cancer and AIDS industry, and the pharmaceutical industry, next to all those truths, and the spiritual truths. It's also the so-called ET conspiracy. And X-Files was for me back then a conditioning, a fear conditioning actually. And it's always depicted, well, this is based on actual facts. The first episode, you gotta watch it. And then you get, oh my god. Of course, if you know the truth, then you're no longer influenced by that type of programming. Another type of programming was Star Trek, a futuristic type civilization where there is war, where it's just the same as in Earth, where there's practically a federation of planets battling the Borg, battling the Klingons, battling the Jem'Hadar, that it depicts a reality down here on Earth that if we would go to space there would also be wars. Now, I'm not saying that there are no spatial wars. According to many clay tablets as an example, there was a 13th planet or a 9th planet, I'm not sure now. There was an extra planet in the solar system, Phaeton, in between Mars and Earth, and that planet was destroyed apparently in a galactic war. So I don't want to say that there might have not been a galactic war, but the programming of Star Trek is an atheistical future type society where everything like the sciences of today are norm and doing to the best of the best, and also that the way they behave, that they're not sociable, that they're really cold to each other. Captain Picard, I love the series, but the programming behind it is that there is no, well, normal relationships actually. He behaves cold, doesn't have women, only rarely he goes to some planet where he actually meets a woman, and then it's a woman that wants more profit or whatever. So the ice cold alone stander against incredible odds. Another series, Battlestar Galactica, depicts women as normal soldiers that should be viewed as men actually, and that they have the same capabilities as men in all aspects, which is not the truth. Women and men are different. Women are more emotional, they're more talkative, whereas men are more quiet. These are two separate entities of the same whole actually, but they represent a different part of it. They're different. You can't equalize men and women. You can't equalize all different races on this planet. They want you to believe you can't equalize society. Everybody's equal, according to them, but everybody has a different intellect. a different state of being. Intellectually, spiritually, qua natural health and attractiveness. Not everybody's equal. You look different. You have a different intellect. There's of course a natural intellectual nobility. There's a hierarchy actually. And this hierarchy, in my last video I told you that it has been edited and manipulated. They just want a controllable mass actually of sheep, cattle, that they can control. We have apparent choice, yes, but the true power lies with them. They control the banks, they control the media, they depict reality. So again, we are practically in a hypnotic state, the people, the grand masses of the world, and are always led to believe that what happens to the world is something that has to be done and is coincidental, that the war in Iraq had to be done, that all wars had to be done to liberate us from evil terrorists. The next step is evil ETs. We have to fight a global war, or a third world war. They can do that. They can do anything what they want. And if you research this alternative history online, revisionist history, the truth about 9/11, racialist history, you will come to the insight that it is not per chance or coincidence or per accident. They program us to be atheistical, to behave in certain ways. Even our sex life is depicted on TV, how we should behave. We should be monogamous. I don't know. I don't know if we are naturally polygamous. I don't know, but we are shown a way to behave, and even a video made about nudity, to feel ashamed actually of yourself. So the series, like the X-Files, was there to program me, our youth back then, with fear, severe fear indoctrination of potential ET contact. And if they were ETs, they were dark ETs. But they're also the good ones from the Pleiades, or from the Sumer system, or Aldebaranic star system, planet Sumer. The so-called Nordic aliens, the predecessors of the Aryans in this world. Even Friends. I like watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Really, I enjoyed it. But it depicts a reality of Africans behaving like white people. If you look at present-day Africa, it's mostly tribal. Any type of Western influence you can see because of the oil and resources there. South Africa is practically still a second or first world country because of the Caucasian race there, the Europeans. But most of Africa is still tribal. And Fresh Prince of Bel-Air depicts these Africans as rich white people, and they also make fun of it. And well, Fresh Prince, Will says that, yeah, don't forget where you're coming from, yeah, because they're also uptight white people actually, making fun of it actually, of the white rich upper class in America. But I enjoyed the series nevertheless. But it also depicts us and programs us. We must never forget that all these TV shows program us in a certain fashion. Dexter, they justify murder. For the right reasons, you can kill the people. Over and over again. Friends, social engineering. How you should behave with friends. Imagine a society where you are free, where you consciously go together with a partner to raise children, and where you say to each other that for our children we will work together. This does not necessarily mean that you have to be monogamous, or you have to have faith in him and say, I will never ever have sex with anybody else. No. You will put your goal together to raise those children, but if you want to have sex with other people, then you're allowed to do so. Today, religions and dogmatic belief systems make us feel ashamed of our sexuality. Why, if you go to the beaches, Do we hide ourselves? If it's so warm, and why aren't we naked? I mean, there is an FKK culture in Berlin, yes, Freikörperkultur, or where people are nude. But we feel ashamed of our own biological self being in the nude, actually. I do not feel comfortable. At the same time, the media portrays the perfect depiction of what you should be. Men should have well muscled, should go to the fitness and work out their trained bodies, and have to look perfect, while women have to be so thin, have to be models, have to be anorectic practically, or have to have this certain beautiful, a certain aspect. And if they aren't that way, then they're not beautiful. In this new age, this fashion industry that keeps brainwashing us will be a thing of the past. We will know what beauty is, of course. The beauty of a healthy body, upbreeded since generations, and strength. But in a normal fashion. It will be like sculptures, not on a daily basis where you get overfed with half semi-nude pictures of the perfect woman that you should crave for. And people will stop looking for fame and wealth, actually. Fame, power, and wealth as indicating factors of where you are in society. I'm not saying they're not going to be rich people, of course not. It's going to be a natural hierarchy, but this will be completely transparent. There won't be people like Rothschild that rule the world and have so much money at their disposal that we could not even dream about. Trillions upon trillions of dollars. Less work, more income, more happiness. Of course, the TV and the mass media can be used in a positive fashion. After the global turning, the mass media will be used to awaken the masses, and it will be an art tool practically to promote well-being, good feelings, truth, educational, and not brainwashing and hate bashing and hate instigating, instrumental machine, and conditioning of how reality is, programming, false realities. Just imagine an interstellar civilization where we have a beautiful kingdom with a priesthood elite who are in contact with the higher entities or gods and who work according with the natural law of creation. There were many civilizations in the past, Aryan civilizations, like ancient Babylon, or ancient Egypt, or ancient Greece, Carthago as well. There were civilizations that were in line with the natural law and with the natural hierarchy of the gods. The pyramids were used for astral projection. And this truth gives us also a sense of purpose, a sense of knowing why we are here, a goal, this focusing of the people on one direction actually, on one focus, on one way, knowing why we're here and why we're building a civilization. It's like giving a boat a direction out at sea. You need a focal point, a leadership that you trust upon, that you love. That's what Adi actually was talking about, you know. He knew the truth. And the people were happy back then, in the 30s and 40s, in Germany. But they don't want you to know that there are alternatives, that it is the only reality, that there is an economic depression. They want you to, so long as the people do not know that it can be different, they will be trapped. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this video. Hails.